Hello, I hope you're having a wonderful day or night wherever you are. In today's video, I'm going to talk about the star of the show, which is the Libero, I can never say that word, Libero flip phone, because I want to say liberal, but Libero flip phone from ZTE, which is a Chinese brand. I've had it for almost 15 months, maybe 14 and a half, depends on the week I got it, which I forgot, so I'm not gonna double check, but I did get it in November of 2024, and according to my Google account, I've had 456 days exactly. So you do the math on that, divided it by 31 days, okay? I mean, no, we're not gonna do the math right now. So anyway, I've had it for a while, and I think that is enough time for me to, deduce the worthiness of this phone, I should say, and whether it's a good buy or not, and what I thought about it. So,
before we get into it, full disclaimer, I've been trying to film this for a while, but I haven't sat down and filmed a video in a long time, so I have this tendency of going off on tangents, which I do, like, as a conversationalist, outside of this, I am very, like, all over the place. I go off on tangents, so bear with me. I will try my best, but it is what it is, alright? So if I start randomly talking about iOS, or the 2008 crisis, or, Samsung, you have been warned. So, yeah, without further ado.
One, I want to talk about why I bought this phone. So there are three reasons, and the most important reason is in Korea. But on the bright side, on the positive side, for 4 years, I found a lot of use for both of my iPhones. Come find out, I found it far more convenient, easy, and less of a headache to keep my Canadian accounts and my Korean accounts separate. The reason being, a lot of Canadian apps are not available on the Korean iOS system and vice versa, and whenever the apps, especially the banking apps, needed updates, it was a disaster trying to update the Korean banking apps through the Canadian iOS and having to change the countries and all that good jazz. And in Japan, it was even worse. My first year in Japan, I didn't have a second phone. So yeah, so if I live outside of Canada, I am definitely gonna carry around 2 cell phones. And it is also,
As someone who has a bit of a language barrier, because I don't speak Japanese, I don't speak Korean, having a second device, if your first device fails for whatever reason, is a little bit reassuring. In Canada, if I don't have a phone, I don't feel as panicky. I can go anywhere to a store and be like, hey, can I borrow your phone? Or, ask someone, could I borrow their phone? In Korea and Japan, that's a little bit, So having 2 phones when I'm out and about, using public transportation, is reassuring. So, just based on even that aspect of it, yeah, I like having 2 phones.
So there's that. And there was something else I wanted to mention, if I can remember. I can't remember. Anyway, so that's the first reason. The second reason is because I had 2 iPhones in Korea, I kind of found it like a little bit boring, for lack of a better word, or redundant. So based on that, I'd already planned to have an Android phone. I wanted to have 1 Android and 1 iOS. I was going to keep Android for the Korean side of things, or Japan, once I moved to Japan, and my iPhone for the Canadian side of things. So there's that. And when I moved to Japan, I was planning to get the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 5. I was in need. So yeah, anyway, so I started looking for alternatives, and none of the alternatives were calling to me, except for when I saw this. And I will have to admit, like, it's not my favorite aesthetic phone. I got it for the price. Okay, I got it for the price. We're gonna get into it soon, but yeah, the price on this phone was just too impossible for me to like give up on, so I bought it for that reason. And that I wanted an Android phone is because I wanted to experience the flip phone factor. Okay, I've been super curious about this design for years now. I always wanted my hands on it. I was like, what is this magic, like a touch screen? I grew up with flip phones, okay? My dad had like a Sony Ericsson and a Nokia flip phone. So I had like my first phone was a Motorola, the silver one with the weird you know what I'm talking about, okay? I've had a lot. I grew up with flip phones, okay? I wanted this technology in my hand. This is so satisfying, okay? So so let's talk about the pricing on the phone. So if I remember correctly, it was around 475 US dollars when it dropped, and then upwards of 700 Canadian dollars when it was released. I don't remember the date. Don't quote me on it because I just read one article. It wasn't an official website, so I don't know if those price tags are true or not, but I do remember buying this phone for 200 Canadian dollars on dot with my Canadian dime from Amazon. I checked the receipts last night, so you know, bang for your buck. If it was really $700 retail value, I saved a decent amount of money from the retail value. But even today, this phone on Amazon is at 273,000 yen, which is roughly 260 Canadian dollars, maybe 65, 59, 68, in that range, give or take. I'm not checking, okay? It fluctuates by the minute, and I'm a girly of approximation, okay? Like, I talk in approximates and like rounding up things, so I don't really know how much it is exactly, but you know, that's the range. Now, not only did I save a lot of money from the, you know, retail value that I think it was, but I saved, you know, quite a nice bit of discount even from the discount price, so makes me super happy. The caveat being though, the only shade available on Amazon is the blue shade last I checked, and that is the one that was for 260 Canadian dollars. And I'm not gonna sit here and talk about the Samsung S6 Lite tablets in pink and blue and gray and like how the price varies, because you know, and that's been an interesting, you know, window shopping experience. But I have noticed that colorful devices for older generations, while they are brand new, do tend to be more expensive than the neutral colors. So it might be that is why probably this phone was cheaper when I bought it, I'm assuming. I don't know, maybe I used a gift card. I don't think so, but maybe I did, because I do get a lot of Amazon gift cards. Maybe I used points, or you know, this phone was on discount at the time, which, you know, a lot of these unpopular, or I don't want to say unpopular, but no, let's just stick with it, I can't think of a better word. Phones go on heavy discounts often, but actually even the popular ones go on discounts quite often. So like the Samsung Z Flip 6 is at $1,400, so it's like running on a $200 discount, and the Motorola phones, flip phones, are running on a $300 discount. So you know, what am I? All phones go on discounts on Amazon year round, so maybe I got it on a discount. Anyway, for $200 as a tester phone, bang for your buck. But as a main driver, personally, not for me. I'll talk a little bit more about it in the next part. So yeah, but before we move on, I will say the phone has been sold, and I sold it for $99.99, right? Sending it is gonna cost me roughly, like, depends on the box. I can send it for cheap for $2, and I can send it for the premium experience for $4. So it depends on that. So yeah, so basically I spent $200. I'm recouping around $93, $95 on it, so bang for your buck. So yeah, anyway, moving on to the next part. So now let's talk about the cons of this phone. And I do feel bad, you know, complaining about a $200 phone because of what it's offering, because this aspect is very expensive, right? So I feel bad, but it is a review video, and you know, I am pretty straightforward as a person, so you know, bear with me while I complain, because I went in with zero expectations, and you know, I've been overly pleasantly surprised, because I was thinking it's gonna last me 6 months. It has lasted me 50 months, right? So on that note, it was a surprise, but in the grand scheme of things, I think the only pro of this phone is that it was so cheap, and it allowed me to experience both the flip phone and the Android iOS. But if this was my main driver, I would be very frustrated with it, and I think if it were my main driver, it would not have lasted me 15 months, right? So I do understand that affordability is subjective and relative depending on context and circumstances, you know, so just, you know, take everything I'm about to say with a grain of salt. But if you are able to just, you know, wait a bit, save a bit more money, I think I would recommend just getting like a Motorola phone if it goes on sale, or when it goes on sale, or getting a used Samsung phone, because I feel, based on the reviews, because I have never had either, so based on the reviews I've seen, because I've seen a lot of reviews for both, I feel like those two brands would be far more durable, right, over time, if you plan to use your phone for a long period of time. So for example, I've been using my iPhone for 4 years now. I will be upgrading it this year, and at that point it will be close to 5 years. So yeah, anyway, so if you're looking for durability, not it. If you're okay with, you know, just changing up your phone every other year, you know, every few months, you know, spend like $100, use it for a year, few months, spend another 100, you're still gonna save a lot more money in the long run if you do that. So if you're okay with it, I think it's a good choice, right? Now, moving on to what my personal issues were with this. Okay, I don't know if Android acts differently across different phone brands and different price tags. I'm assuming it does, but on this phone, I found it to be, you know, a bit frustrating, and perhaps it's because I've gotten used to the iOS system, 14-15 years, duh. But my main gripe with Android over here was it was laggy, and I'm assuming it's the phone, but I found it to be very laggy for a lot of different things. YouTube, you know, that's one area I don't expect devices to give me issues, but it was very strange with YouTube, and it would randomly just, you know, not shut down, but like go to sleep while I was using an app, right? And it wasn't like I was like, my fingers were on the screen and it would just go to sleep, right? That to me would be very annoying. Could you imagine being in a store, you're trying to use your payment app to pay, and it shuts down like that, right? So yeah, I screenshot a random video I clicked on this phone. Wait, that is not correct. I took a video of a random YouTube video I was watching on this phone. Case in point, go have a look at it, and then we will come back to discuss more.
Just like share. This was like an okay, wait, remember that there still can be and probably should be some kind of filter there. Early the next year in 2019, Bunny posted a video titled Sharing a Secret I've Kept for 2 Years, where she says that people have been asking her to
you
share
see
more.
what I mean? See, right? So yeah, now again, apples and oranges for sure, but this is from 2022. No, 2021. 5 years old. I bought this 2021 summer. No issues, okay? And I still have, like, according to ChatGPT, I still have like 4 years worth of like lifetime out of this if I'm careful. So yeah, I just stick it to the fridge and I watch a lot of YouTube or Netflix while I'm doing the dishes. Well, not Netflix anymore, but like, you get it, right? So yeah, light YouTube usage, and it doesn't even last me 2 or 3 minutes. It tends to lag. So, you know, I feel like if you have a main driver, like whatever device is your main device, most people will use it for media consumption. I found it to be difficult, let's just say, right? So in all honesty, the body of the phone is super nice to the touch. It feels quite premium and not like a cheap plastic phone. The frame, I think, is metal, and the back panel is mixed material. I think a mixture of glass and plastic, if I'm not wrong. But what I want to focus on is the crease. Personally, did I feel the crease? Yes. Did it detract from my use of the phone, or did it bother me, or was it cumbersome in any way, shape, or form? No. But the screen protector did start bubbling up last month, which was a disappointment. I would think if you have any kind of a foldable phone, you would face this issue like, say, third year, or maybe, after 2 years, with even a cheap phone. So yeah, and I would not mind it so much, but because this phone is not widely available, how am I supposed to get it replaced? You know what I mean? So that was the irksome bit of it all. Supposed to be. Anyway, so that was, the second issue. The build of it feels nice, but I think they could have put more thought into it. Here is another example if I can find it. So I only dropped this phone once, and just based on one drop, this is what happened. I don't know if you can, it's not focusing. Let's see if I can get it to focus. Okay, wait. So here is the damage. Not the end of the world for sure, but the reason I mention it is because, I've seen several resale ads for this phone on the site I use, and a lot of people who dropped their phone once, they mention it only dropped once, the hinge actually came off completely, right? So you do run the risk of, if you have butterfingers, the phone might just fall apart. That is why I mention it. So last but not least, I want to talk about temperature. This phone would heat up with time for any kind of usage, but I'm going to talk about gaming, because I think if gaming is something that tends to heat up your devices a lot compared to anything else, I would say. And I did use this for light gaming. So my commute on the train usually is anywhere from 30 to 40 minutes, and sometimes I'm able to sit down. If I'm able to sit down, I will read a book, but if I'm not able to sit down, I will play games on this phone. And I don't play any heavy duty games, so like all of those fancy games, can't even think of a name, I do not play. I play the very classical low-key games like Think Solitaire, Tetris, Sudoku, the ping pong game, Fruit Ninja, for example. I feel like, Fruit, I never downloaded Fruit Ninja on here, but that would heat up this phone. So, final thoughts. As I mentioned previously, if you're okay with, changing up your phone every few months, a year, bang for your buck. If you want durability and, a seamless experience, would not recommend. So that's my 2 cents on that. And I will try to edit this video down to 15-18 minutes, no promises. And stay tuned, because I am soon going to talk about my experience with Apple for 15 years. That's a video I've been working on. It is taking a lot of sitting down and filming and editing, because I'm talking about MacBooks and tablets and watches and phones and just like a lot of things. So fingers crossed. I'm not too sure if I'm gonna drop it anytime in February, but definitely I plan to drop it in March. So stay tuned for that, and have yourselves a wonderful day, and See you in the next one. Bye!